Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Down and Dirty with Dr. T. And this episode is brought to you by Poocho. It's a research productivity tool to collect and analyze consumer conversations at scale. Today, my guest is Abhimanyu Sirothia. Abhimanyu is the design director at Designit with nearly 15 years of experience in the industry, creating user experiences for clients ranging from startups to large corporations. Known for expertise in accessible design, design systems, and UI, he combines this with an engineering background to deliver intuitive solutions. Very cool combo. He co hosts two podcasts, Designamite FM, which demystifies design topics, and the Delayed Gratification podcast. So much to ask you there, Abhimanyu, about that. Exploring consumer tech through thoughtful consumption. A self proclaimed geek, his passion for technology drives his curiosity to optimize workflows and explore new tools. Abhimanyu, great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Likewise, I'm just loving doing this on a weekday, a weekend, sorry.
After 4 months
After
of
four
pursuing,
months, we
but it
really
happened.
tried. Yes.
Yeah, it happened. It happened.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it, Abhimanyu.
Hmm?
Design director, design it. Please demystify. What does a design director at Design It do?
Well, so my day is very busy usually,
Hmm.
because my job requires me to essentially look at every single project that's running in our studio, manage conversations with stakeholders, attend meetings, have conversations with teams, and then when needed, dive into actual hands-on design work. So I
Hmm.
get into Figma per se, specifically to actually do some, get my hands dirty, so to say.
Yeah. So walk me through literally, let's get into the weeds, right? This is called down and dirty. So let's get
Yes.
down and dirty. What time do you wake up? What time do you clock in? Do you go to work or is it hybrid or home? Like, what's the setup like? Right till you
Okay,
get to bed.
perfect. So it's a hybrid setup.
Acha.
I work from office 3 days and from home
Okay.
2 days. And usually my wake up time is like 7 o'clock.
Hmm.
Um, there isn't a specific time to get to office, so I get there anywhere between 10 and 11,
Hmm.
depending on what day it is. I do have a small little kid who goes to a play school, so I drop them off, at the time and then head for office, stuff like that. But yeah, as soon as I start working, that's when the first thing I try and do is figure out what my day looks like, right? So
Hmm.
the calendar view is like the calendar itself is the first thing that I get into to try and figure out what's going on. And that tells me what kind of work I have to do throughout the day.
Hmm.
Usually my mornings will start off with some meeting or the other. So that's
Hmm.
about 10:30, 11 o'clock. So jumping right into meetings, taking notes over there, and then following that up with, any other sort of work that requires to be
Hmm.
done. So hands-on work, more discussions. I think a lot of discussions. That's definitely a lot of what's
Right.
happening in my day. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what it looks like in general.
Hmm. How big is the
Yeah.
team?
So the team at Design in India right now is about 35 people, if I'm not wrong, between
Hmm.
35 and 40. And we're, I think, currently running like 8 or 10 projects simultaneously.
Wow.
So that's divided with another colleague of mine between the
Hmm.
two of us. So depending
Hmm.
on what kind of a project it is, I take care of some of them, the other person takes care of the others.
Right,
That's how
right.
it
And what time does work end?
Wow. I wish I had like a time.
Ah, that was
So
the
a
right
lot of
question.
yes, a lot of our clients are also based in other locations, and especially the
Yeah.
ones in the
Mm,
US or Canada
mm.
or places like that. We have to sometimes take calls at like 9 o'clock in the night or something like that. So again, there's a whole other conversation about work-life balance, and I'm still figuring that out. And especially with the help of like younger people who've joined the team, we're having
Mm,
these conversations more and more about, hey, let's draw boundaries, figure things out. So yeah, it could be so far it's like late in the night, but
yeah,
hopefully that gets better and there's like a evening
yeah, yeah.
cutoff at some point.
That's tough. When you have overseas clients, then you've
Yes.
got to, and obviously these are also bigger ticket sizes. I mean, overseas
Yes,
clients
usually.
require more
Yes.
nurturing. Yes.
Yes.
So, do you take these meetings then from home? Do you bring your work home to run
um
late night meetings?
yeah, that's true. Usually all the late night ones are taken from home,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's basically from this place where
yeah.
I'm sitting right now. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And how old is your kid?
He just turned 3. So really, really
Yeah,
small, but it's something I look forward to nowadays, to get back home and like spend time with him.
yeah, yeah,
Just unfortunately, some of the meetings take up time, and he's usually asking, "Hey, is your meeting done?" He knows the concept of something's called a
yeah.
meeting, and then it gets completed, and then dad can play. So that's a very common question that comes my way every day.
Abhimanyu, I hear you because I have one kid who's going to turn 2 pretty soon,
Wow.
and an older one, and the younger one and the older one are very aware of
Ah,
Amma's gone in for a meeting and the
yes,
door is shut.
yes.
So and yes, and then that work-life balance becomes something to really talk about, especially with younger kids. I mean, actually, I guess a
Absolutely.
parent would say that with a kid at any age, but
Yeah, yeah,
but we feel it at this
yes,
age.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree with you.
So, so what do you do? So you come back to work. Sometimes work spills over into the night,
Yeah.
and you go to bed depending on when this happens. Do you have time? Do you have me time? Do you have time to exercise, to go for a walk? I don't know, to read anything for you?
Okay, I'm not a big reader.
Sure,
So
sure, sure.
usually the me time
Yeah.
is the weekends. That's where I
Okay.
do most of the things. Just yesterday, I've set up a recurring invite for the entire year for my Friday evenings to be free. So I've just set up an out of office, 7 o'clock to
Nice.
midnight. I'm like, if someone sends me a meeting, they should see I'm not available. That's at
Yes.
least like one part of the conversation's done. Then if it's an emergency
Yeah.
or something, I can obviously dive
Correct.
in. So I'm trying to, see if I can just do a Friday evening cutoff till Monday morning and just not look at work.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so that's kind of how I'm dealing with that. But yeah, since I don't like reading a lot, usually it
Mm.
is audiobooks and
Mm.
podcasts, which
Mm.
where I do most of my consumption. And
Mm.
it's usually while driving, or maybe if I'm doing some house chores like
Yeah.
drying clothes or doing the
Yeah.
dishes or stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm acquiring knowledge.
Yeah. My
Yeah.
husband keeps telling me, he's like, do you do anything that is not, even if I'm reading, it's
Mhm.
always happening from the perspective of, you know, uh, learning something that I
Yeah.
can apply to work. And he's like, what
Yeah.
about fiction? I'm
Yeah.
like, I'll get there.
Yeah. That's usually, I mean, TV shows and movies, again, the time for that, because there's a small kid, is like in the night. So like after 10:30 or something, we'll
Yeah.
watch like an episode of a show that we're really interested in. Recently, it's been Silo on Apple TV, which is just,
Oh,
yeah, it's an amazing show.
okay.
Grips
I'll
you.
check it out for sure.
Yes.
So okay, so tell me this now. So I've understood a little bit
Yeah.
more about what your day looks like, the things that you juggle both personally and professionally.
Yes.
Uh, what what are some enablers? What are things that help you come to work and do better? Not
Hmm.
tools, apps, and stuff. We'll get into that.
Mm-hmm.
But just, your environment, your influencers, your network, your skills. What are some things that allow you to bring your best to the table as a
Hmm.
design director?
Hmm. So I got into design not very long ago, like professionally. I've been
Mm,
doing it as part of like volunteer work, and I've been interested in
mm,
it for a very long time.
mm,
I officially got the stamp of being a designer back in 2019, so
mm,
it's not been very long compared to like my overall
mm.
like working life.
Yeah.
But I've been fortunate enough that whichever design team I've been part of,
Mm,
there have been people at all levels, starting from the
mm,
junior most level to the senior most level, who have something or the other which is keeping me curious to learn whatever that is. So if
mm,
it's really junior people, nowadays they're coming in with skills like great UI design, working with tools like Framer, those kind of things, Rive, Protopie. So I'm always looking at what the work that they're doing, and I'm like, okay, I need to figure this out. So that's
yeah.
keeping me curious just every day. From senior leadership, I'm learning basically how to say no, which is, I think, it's a really important skill to have. And just because I want to be polite, a lot of times I get caught in situations where I don't want to be. But I think the team members that I've had, and if I extend that to the design community here in
Mm,
Bangalore, there's so many meetups that happen. Actually, there are
mm.
too many meetups that happen. Let me say that. So you really have to filter out which ones you can go to.
Mm.
But all the people, the amazing people you meet there, uh, I mean, the kind of work that's happening in startups around here is just next level. I know
Yeah.
there's companies which make these design tools are
Mm.
coming to such companies to have conversations about how they're using the tools. So you can imagine the kind of work that they're doing, that
Right.
the software maker is interested to know, hey, what are you guys doing?
Yeah.
So it's just the circle of these people that are, they keep me going, and they always keep this field interesting. So those would be my biggest enablers.
That's amazing. So on the flip side, what are some things that come in the way, things that you need to, work on environmentally or personally, or challenges or obstacles, anything that
Yeah,
needs
I think
untying,
I think
unknotting?
uh, I think time management is like the biggest thing. So
Okay.
obviously everything that goes around that, which is drawing
Mm,
boundaries,
mm,
maybe getting better at scheduling, blocking time, doing those
mm,
kind of things. But every time there's there's something happening at work, or when I'm sitting by myself thinking about something, it always comes down to, hey, do I have time to do that? Because
mm,
I have recently been thinking about how communication, effective communication, is the best tool a good designer can have
mm.
in their tool belt.
Yeah.
And there's team members who I want to work with to get them better, because I mean they can
Mm,
speak, but can they do it effectively? Can they
mm,
manage conversations with difficult people?
mm,
Which is like a thing that happens almost every other day.
mm,
How can I help them get to a place where I am, which probably isn't even the 100% where it should be, but at least get
mm,
them to a point where they can remove some things from their
mm.
which are obstacles for them, and continue to do their work. So all of it comes down to, hey, do I have time to do this? And I
Right.
keep joking that I probably should be on a different planet, so I have more than 24 hours in a day to do this, but I don't think that'll be enough either. So I think that would be the biggest obstacle at this point, just figuring out getting time to do things.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to keep the time management, and I'm sure we're going to come back to that in this
Okay.
conversation. So tell me, in the course of your day, when you get
Mhm.
to work, you mentioned you have things like you're touching your calendar, you're hitting meetings, you've got lots of
Yes.
hands-on stuff happening. This project management, if you're handling all these projects between the two of
Hmm.
you, then there's obviously managing those projects, forget actually working on it.
Hmm.
That needs to also happen.
Yeah.
Can you walk me through, from again, if you just take the framework of morning to evening or whatever,
Hmm.
10 to, 7, 6, 7, whatever, at work, what are your, what are the tools and touch points
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
during the course of your day?
Okay. So the entire setup that we have
Mm.
at Designit right now is based on Microsoft 365. So
Okay.
everything's based
Okay.
on Teams and Outlook and those kind of things.
Mm.
Um, so a lot of times I am juggling mostly between like Teams and Outlook, because all the
Mm.
conversations are happening in those two places. But then when I get out of those tools, it's usually, I mean, the web browser is like, I think, the most used thing, because I'm moving in and out of websites, doing research on things, stuff like that. Very recently, a lot of these Gen AI based tools that are available, so ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, all of those are helping me in my day to do various things. And then obviously design tools, so things like Figma, and I mean, I've tried to use Protopie but haven't gotten the time to do it yet properly.
But you have juniors who are using it.
Yes,
so
yes, yes. And
so
we
you're
have
seeing them
other
do it. Yeah.
studios across the world as well. So I know some
Yeah.
designers, across
Mm.
various ponds who are using it. So I'm
Okay.
interested in those things as well. But yeah, I think it's that, and then I mean, there's usually some music playing in the background to help me cut out all of this
Cool.
noise.
Yeah, yeah.
So it used to be Spotify. Recently, it's been like YouTube Music or something that's always on and playing in the background. Um, I'd say those are like the main like official tools that I
Mm.
use to do all the work that's happening on the system. And I'd say, I mean, Mac OS specifically, right? So I am someone who loves having all operating systems around me. So I always have an
Is
iPhone with
that
me.
Is that to
That
check? Is that why? Like, because you need to check how design works across
I
OSs, or
think
is there some
I
other
think the
reason?
more appropriate term would be FOMO because I don't want to. But yes, I tell people that, hey, I'm a designer. I design for all platforms, so I need to know about everything. But it's really FOMO.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I have an iPhone with me. I have an Android phone with me. I have a MacBook, both personal and work. I have a Windows laptop. I have a little desktop thing which I'm running Linux on. So I'm just like trying all sorts of things all over the place.
Yeah.
And because I've done that, I realize this whole conversation about the Apple ecosystem and how it helps you, it's a thing. Like if you can figure out how to get it to do work for you, there's a lot of things that just become muscle memory and you don't think about that anymore. It just happens in the day. So the operating system itself, the Mac OS operating system, is the other big thing that helps me get my work done much quicker.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And on that note, what are we going to drill into? Because now you've
Yes.
mentioned, not only did you mention tools, you kind of opened the can of worms and said, not only tools, there are already also OSs that I am playing around with all day long.
Yeah.
So what do we want to talk about today?
All right. So the tool that we're going to talk about today is called Raycast, and
Okay.
I can probably give you this one liner. Like I just said, how happy I'm able to use Mac OS for work.
Yes.
Raycast has become the tool which I can't use Mac OS without. So it has to be the first thing that gets installed. I guess right after my password manager because that's a tool I need for sure. But Raycast is like the thing that I definitely need on all my MacBooks. Um, and here's if I just quickly tell you what it is. If
Yes.
anyone who's using a Mac has pressed Command Space on their keyboard, it opens a thing called Spotlight, which is where you can just search for. Usually, you search for apps to launch apps, but Spotlight itself can do a lot more. Raycast is a replacement for that. So, at the most basic level, people start by saying it's an app launcher.
Mm.
But if there is an application on the Mac which can be considered a Swiss Army knife, this is what it is. It can just do so much that is just mind blowing. And
Okay.
I can't wait to show
Okay.
you what all it can do.
All right. Okay. Okay. So, of course, we are going to do a screen share and you are going
Yes,
to, take me through that. But let's just talk about it for a second. So,
absolutely.
so you already have Spotlight. There was something that
Yes,
is already inbuilt. I know
yes.
that because my husband uses a Mac. I don't.
Ah,
So, I know Spotlight.
uh-huh.
What is different between Raycast and Spotlight?
So Spotlight is something that Apple gives you by default, and it's a
Mm-hmm.
great way to be very keyboard centric in your workflow. Usually, if you think about the spectrum of where users are, usually people who are beginning are using a lot of cursor movements using the mouse to move around. But as you go get more advanced, um, usually people tend to move towards the keyboard because then a lot of things can just happen without having to lift your hand, move your hand here or there.
Mm-hmm.
And Spotlight helps with that a lot. But I'd say, um, how we keep saying Apple is such a user centric company and they really make things that users, they understand users. I want to say this is a place where they haven't done a lot recently. And Raycast completely fills in that gap. Like the kind of things that Raycast can do more easily. So it can do a lot of things that Spotlight can do, but it feels like they've just thought through that extra one thing, which just makes it very easy to quickly do that. And that's why I have switched over to Raycast being my default for everything. There are certain situations where I'll still go to Spotlight and do certain examples of things, but usually it's Raycast.
So give me the value add in a couple of words if you can, which means if I say something like, Abhimanyu wants to quickly navigate the apps
Mhm.
on his Mac OS,
Yes.
but wants to do it in a way that or wants to do it with Dash. Like what's the value add that Raycast fills?
So maybe I'll put it like this, right? I think app launching is going to be the same whether it's
Okay.
Raycast or it's Spotlight. Or there's an alternative before Raycast. For the longest time, there's a thing called Alfred, which people
Hmm.
use a lot.
Hmm.
App launching is going to be the same across,
Hmm.
but it's the other things. Like for example, I use it a lot to do conversions or calculations. Because I'm across time zones, some person's going to be like, hey, I'm setting a meeting at 9 o'clock. And I'm like, what is 9 o'clock? I do not know. So
Correct.
the immediate thing I do is I just type in 9 and then whatever time they're in, let's say Eastern, so 9 EST. And Raycast just knows that I want it to tell me what's the IST conversion. And on top of that, firstly, it's very quick, and I can just press enter, and it copies the time zone, the time that I have, so I can just go into my calendar, set up the meeting, and be done. Right. So this workflow of being able to just quick, type something, press enter, get into my scheduling tool, and do it. Spotlight doesn't help me with that. I can type it in. Sometimes it needs me to be very specific, and then it takes some time to do the conversion. It also doesn't handle what I feel are like magical conversions. So I can probably, and I'll have to try this out. I can probably tell Raycast that what's the next working day after, I don't know, July the 4th. And it'll just come up with, hey, this is it. And it just blows my mind every time. Like I just told it something in like natural language and it just gave me a result. So it's always magical in that sense.
So is it the equivalent then of, in chat GPT has gotten so good now that you put in a prompt and alongside the response, it'll tell you
Yes.
what next, right? It'll tell you other things that may be helpful or relevant in that
Mm-hmm.
context.
Mm-hmm.
Is Raycast doing that for you at an OS level? Meaning it's seeing what you need and then
Yeah.
connecting it to the app
Yeah.
ecosystem, saying, okay, so now let me schedule it for you because
Yeah.
you asked
I
me a 9 a.m. IST or EST
Yeah, so
conversion.
it doesn't have that entire workflow, but it gets
Ah.
me to a point where I can quickly do the rest of the work. So I
Hmm.
think it offloads things that I have to use my brain a lot for. And it
Amazing.
just helps me get to a point after which I can be just like, yeah, this is done. And there are
Love that.
other tools that I end up using to automate a lot of these other things. But
Yeah.
just getting to the point where, hey, I have to use my brain to do this or go to Google or, mental mathematics or something like that. It just helps me just quickly be done with those things.
That's amazing. How did you learn about it?
I am trying to remember. I don't recollect where I found out about it, but I know I've been using it since it was a beta software. So it's a couple of, I'm guessing more than a year for sure. It could be
Okay.
even longer. Um, it has a pro version now, which I wasn't paying for the longest time. So just the free version of it can do a lot more. But because, like I said in the beginning, I'm using it across all my
Mm.
MacBooks that I have, which at this point, including like two work MacBooks, is like a total of three or maybe four. Okay. So I'm
What?
using so I'm using Raycast across all those four, and the pro version allows me to sync all of the preferences and things across. So I'm literally paying money just to be like, hey, I don't need to think about this. If I've made a change here to something I don't like, I'll just see it on the other Mac where I'm using. So yeah, that's
Wow. Okay.
really quick.
So this is, remember, I told you we're going to come back to
Yes.
time and time
Yes.
management, and it seems like this is one solution to your management of time, something to just save you even an extra second or
Oh
a
yes.
minute.
Yes.
It matters in the
Absolutely.
long run because time is so
Absolutely.
precious for you and
Mhm.
what you do.
Yes, yes, yes. And I think a lot of so the Raycast team. See, if I think about software in today's world that's really user centric, Figma comes to mind as
Mm.
as one of the things. Although recently in the design community is debatable whether they're actually doing very user centric things or not. But the other tool that comes to mind is Raycast, and they on their YouTube channel have these videos where they bring on guests to talk about their workflow with Raycast, and that's where I learn a lot of new things that the tool can do. But wow, I'm about to forget my train of thought. But yes, in those videos, one of the things that the host always keeps coming back to is the time saved,
Yeah.
because there's so many things which if you didn't have Raycast, you take. I'm not going to say minutes. Obviously, it'll be a couple of seconds, maybe
Mm.
5 seconds, 15 seconds to do things. But if you look at the overall time that you've saved, um, it's not just about the time but also the mental capacity that you have, which you've now used for something else instead of going through the workflow. So yes,
Okay.
100% time saved.
Wow, you're a massive fan from the way you talk about it and the way your eyes are lighting up. I mean, this is not just you telling me about something that you use. This is
Yeah,
you saying, guys, go out and use it now. What it
absolutely.
sounds like.
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. You know what, Abhimanyu? Let's get into it. Why don't we
Yes.
do a share screen? I would love to see some of these use cases.
Awesome. Let me go and do that. Okay. So since we've spoken a lot about how I'm using Raycast to do various things, I'm
Yeah.
going to just press Command Space and pull this up firstly.
Okay.
This is what the UI of Raycast looks like. Um, I'm quickly going to show you Spotlight, which I've moved to a different shortcut on my keyboard, which is this. This is what Spotlight looks like by default,
Okay.
right? So
Mhm.
right up front, Raycast has given me some options to do some quick, things that I do almost every day.
Right.
But why I'm pulling this up is to show you this. So just like YouTube, Spotify, all of those other things, they do something called a Raycast Wrapped, which is
Okay.
how I've used Raycast in all of 2024. And I haven't opened this yet, so I'm going to look at it, with everyone here. I'm going to go ahead and click on it and see what shows up, right?
This is his
Um,
clean laptop, guys. He's got 4 laptops, so this is the cleanest of them.
that's true. So let's see what Raycast is telling me, right?
Yeah.
Now it says a lot of this data is stored locally. So let's see. I don't know what
Mm.
what it'll have because I haven't used this laptop a lot. Interesting. Okay. So it's telling me that I've used Raycast like 973 times. And I have opened this on my work system and it's in the range of like 3,000 times or
Wow.
something over
I
the year.
believe it.
It's telling me I've done over 300 actions. And oh, there you go. I installed Raycast about 1,180 days ago. So a lot of those answers are right
Wow.
here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. More than 2
Um,
years.
but yeah, so and look what it says, right? Let's take a look at how you use Raycast to stay in the flow and keep focused, and that's really what it's helping me do.
Mm-hmm.
If I move ahead, um, here it's talking about a lot of the things that I have installed. So, what all am I using? There's 123 extensions. So the thing Raycast gives, which maybe Spotlight doesn't, is the ability to have extensions. So, for example, if you're a big Spotify user, you can play, pause, change, albums, move tracks just by using your keyboard and Raycast, and you don't need to do anything else. And I think if I'm not wrong, you don't even need like the Spotify app. You can probably just use just Raycast to play Spotify. I could be wrong there. Um, Supercharged access. So 34 hotkeys and 5 aliases. We'll dive into this. Again, this is on my personal laptop, which I don't use every single day.
Mm-hmm.
My work laptop might look very different. There's 13 snippets, quick links. I'll talk about all of that. I recently added YouTube downloader as an extension. And here's a bunch of stuff which I keep using. So, emojis, I haven't spoken about this, but I'm a big emoji user. And I've moved away from so you can invoke the emoji picker from Mac OS. I've moved away from that to Raycast. And because I'm paying for Pro, something cool that it does is if I don't know what I'm looking for, I can just type the word and it'll recommend emojis to me. And
Love it.
that it uses Gen AI to do it. So a bunch of other things like clipboard history.
Mm.
Again, I'll show that to you. That's something I do every single day. Window management, Raycast notes. It's a huge thing. Keeping my Mac awake. So where it says coffee, it does not actually make coffee for you. I wish it could, but it basically keeps my Mac awake. If you see there's a little coffee jar icon here, that's what
Yeah.
this is doing. So it's just making sure my Mac doesn't go to sleep in the middle of this podcast recording.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
And there's
Very
a bunch of
cool.
other things. There's something called a color picker, which a lot of designers use. So that's
Mm.
that. And I think is that it? Okay, what is this? It becomes my launch pad. So I've launched 91 applications through it, 303
Mm.
application launches. Um, some trend. Again, what applications I launch all the time. So again,
Mm-hmm.
work laptops. So sorry, personal laptops. So I've got WhatsApp, App
Yes.
Store, those kind of things.
Makes sense.
I'm really curious to see what this looks like on my work system now. And but yeah, here's a summary of it, right?
Summary of it. Love it.
So, and you can see like the attention to detail that they've got here just in this UI where they've shown me what I've done. This carries throughout. Like the small little things that they think about are just like
Yeah.
too useful.
But also the
So,
design, man, like it looks
yeah,
so cool. I mean, it's
yes,
got such a cool, like multi-level. I don't even have design language to talk about it, but it seems, it
absolutely.
seems like it seems like it's backlit, which looks
Yes,
too
yes,
cool.
that's true. Yes. And I don't know, every time that one YouTube channel I was talking about, whenever that guy comes, whatever you're feeling when you look at this UI is the same feel you get when he's talking about Raycast somehow. So it's
Wow.
it's really in the
Okay.
company. It's not something that they're really forcing to
Yeah.
do, but it's how they
Yeah.
operate, right?
Yeah.
So I love that. So if I cut back into things, so
Mm.
the wrapped has now disappeared, but
Yeah.
this is how I have things organized, right? So like I said, the first thing I do is get into what I'm doing in the day.
Yeah.
I have multiple, like, two apps for this, so I can go into like a calendar app that I
Mm.
have, or right here, the first thing I do, so command space, press enter, whoops, and I'm seeing everything that's supposed to happen. So this podcast right here
Wow.
is showing up. I can see next week, because again, personal laptop I don't have, but all of my meetings basically show up here. And if I know that this is what I have to now join, because see how it's saying it's a green check mark, I can just press enter. You see how it says join Zoom
Yeah.
event? I don't need to like go into Zoom,
Mm.
launch anything. I just press enter, it opens up Zoom, gets me into the meeting. Done.
This is
So,
solid just for that. I mean, the fact that you can,
absolutely.
this is so cool.
So I love this. Every single thing in Raycast, if you press Command K, will just give you additional options. So, but the
Mm.
default is I could join this, but I could also open it in the calendar and look at it. I am
Mm.
not sure what block time does, but email attendees, I'm sure, is just like send an
Mm-hmm.
email,
Mm.
to people, copy event details, the event title, attendees. It's got a bunch of things which
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of Zoom meetings, so I don't really know what all it can do. But I can, let's see, try and copy event attendees and see what that does. So at this point, I will open my clipboard manager. And yeah, there you go. So my email and something else that shows up over there is
Wow.
is showing up. That's what I just copied from this. Um, but yeah, the clipboard manager. If you are not using a clipboard manager, um, you're not effectively using a system. I heard this a lot on different podcasts when and I was just like, I don't know what they're saying. I'm good without it. Since I've started using it, it's just been crazy. Um, Anything that I copy is just, it's here, it's saved here, and I can just say, it should go back to a month, so I can keep scrolling and I can have a month history of everything I've ever copied. So, like for example, I just sent you like a little short bio that's right
Yeah.
here. It's right here. I could just look it again. I could copy a part of it and send it to you. I could just say, show me only images that I've copied. So all the Raycast stuff that just got copied is over here on my clipboard.
It's
And
almost like your own personal history. You know, like how
for
the web
sure,
browser has its
yeah,
history and you can go back to history. This is
yeah.
your
This is like
personal
my
history.
OS level
Yeah.
history of stuff that I've
Yeah,
done. Yeah,
exactly.
but anything that's got on my
Right.
keyboard. And then I think because it's on Mac OS, it's also able to like search things inside images. So I took a bunch of screenshots of the calendar view just before
Mm.
this to try something out. If I just type the podcast name right here, it's going to
Mm.
show me all the images where that text appears. So
Wow.
a lot of times I've taken screenshots during work. It could be like some UI that I'm working on and I've
Yeah.
just like copied it and I have to send it to someone. If I remember a word from there, I can just go in here, copy it, send it back. I don't have to go back into Figma, find out where it is, copy it again, all of that stuff.
That is next level productivity that I have not. I mean, it's a cool hack. It's a
Absolutely.
great way, yeah, to search through your history.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it for that. I mean,
Did you
and
say did you
yeah.
say that it's available only for Mac, or because you said I use it on Mac, but is it also a Windows thing?
So if I open their website, it there now is something called Join Windows Waitlist.
Oh, I
So I'm
see.
looking forward
I'm
to it.
definitely going to join the wait list.
I'm looking forward
Okay.
to it, showing up on Windows,
Yeah.
but on Mac
Yeah.
it's just been magical. This is
Yeah.
basically what they say, right? Your shortcut to everything, and that's what it does. It
Mm.
gets me to where I need to be without getting in the way. And yeah, I mean, you're seeing all of these really cool things happening in the background. You'll notice that my
Yeah.
desktop is also that. That's because of wallpapers. They, for some reason, give you really cool looking wallpapers, which you can just say that they should automatically change. So right now I'm setting it manually, but I could just say auto switch the wallpaper if I go into the preferences of this, there you go, every 30 minutes.
Oh.
So I'm going to switch it to every 5 minutes so that the podcast, stays interesting, just wallpaper wise. Let's
That
have it.
is, that's okay. So we is there anything else? Just think through like some of the common stuff that Raycast helps with. We also talked about conversion and time zones.
So let's try the thing that I said, right? So, something that I typically do is someone says, hey, 9 a.m. EST is when I'm doing things. Right there. Your time, 7:30 p.m. Done.
Damn.
Don't have to do anything else. And if you notice,
Cool.
it says if I press enter, it's going to copy that answer right away. Right? Let me try to do the same thing. I'm going to copy the same thing and get into Spotlight. So control space is where I've switched it to. See that? Not so helpful. Like it's thinking
Yeah.
maybe you want to put it, in the calendar, or you could, do
Even
like a
the
web
UI
search.
is sort of dated,
Right,
like
right, right.
yeah,
So this is, I mean, these are
correct.
instances when it's not really that helpful. I know, like with Spotlight, I think if I
Yeah,
do like I really have to like dial in exactly what I'm looking for it to show me what it is. But nah, it still doesn't do it. Right. Then, like I said, let's say Monday after 4th July. Oh, it didn't show that up, huh? Let's try to do I don't know, weekday. Okay, so in this instance, it's not really doing anything. I would expect it to,
Mm-hmm.
show me something, but that's not happening. You can do math, obviously.
Yeah,
Any sort of math. So as long as you can type, brackets and all of
that's
those sort of
amazing.
things. Yeah.
And
What
design
else?
wise, give me a sense of for design in the design context.
Yeah.
How would you use Recast?
So I'm
For what kind
using
of productivity?
it's one of the things I'm using obviously is that color picker thing, which I use a lot
Mm.
now. So just getting that in and picking a color, it copies it to the clipboard, getting it in there in whatever tool I'm
Oh.
using. There is let me just open a basic text editor to show you this other thing that I use, which is lorem ipsum. So
Mm-hmm.
right here, it gives me options that I could do generate sentences, words, or paragraphs. So I'm just going to say word, or let's say sentences, and I want 3. And the moment I press enter, it's copied it to my clipboard, and here it is, a random piece of lorem ipsum. So I use this a lot as well in when I'm designing, um, and I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of other stuff I do.
No, don't worry about that. But you know what I'm realizing is
Yeah,
this is how when ChatGPT came out, there were all these. I mean, there continue to be conversations about how it's an
yeah,
assistant, right?
yeah,
Like you use it or an intern. All these words have been used to say
yes,
you tell it what to do and then it can do it really
yes,
well. The better you tell it, it'll do something. I feel like this is like another type of assistant. You're
for
using it
sure.
to you're using it to do the simple stuff that would have taken time,
Yes, yes,
and it's just connecting the dots and giving you what you need to, so
absolutely,
it's
absolutely. And it does become muscle memory over time. So a lot of
yeah,
things that I just did and moved around.
yeah,
If you ask me what I pressed on the keyboard, I'll really have to look down and like look
yeah,
at what I did because it's now muscle memory for me. Like for example, turning on and off the fact that the Mac should go to sleep or not. You'll notice. Let me just do this. Whoops! Everything disappeared. Let's see. Perfect. Everything's back. If I press Control Shift S on my keyboard, you see how it says Mac is now decaffeinated, and that becomes regular, and now it's going to
right,
come
right,
back.
of course.
So it's
you
all
know
muscle memory. I wouldn't remember. I had to look down.
that is crazy. Okay, so we can stop our share screen right now. Thanks for taking
Okay.
me through that. It's making me one thing before I jump into any,
Yes.
just closing questions. But
Yes.
a comment that I have is I can imagine if this is able to connect the dots on your OS, which I think is so powerful because if it was voice enabled pretty soon, this is going to be the equivalent of you saying, what's 9
Jarvis from
a.m.?
Iron Man,
You know
right?
what I mean? Like, yeah, you could say, like,
Yes.
I need to book a call, book a
Yes.
meeting. It's 9 a.m. EST. Can you set up in my calendar? The infra is already
Hmm.
there. It's already
Yeah.
doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
only doing it right now by you typing
Typing
the
specific
thing.
things.
If
Hmm.
if just that was voice enabled, right?
Yeah.
Like forget any crazy functionality, just that.
Wow. Wow.
Wouldn't that be
I'm
crazy?
I'm just getting excited thinking about it. And I think if there if there is a team that can do it, it would be Raycast's team because they're just like really good
Yeah.
at figuring these things out.
Yeah.
Maybe we can just drop them a piece of feedback and say that, hey,
Listen,
please do this.
when we post this, we're definitely tagging them. That's gonna
Awesome.
happen. Yeah. But anyhow, thanks for taking me through that. I
Yeah.
really am. I'm a huge productivity junkie myself, so I could go on and on with this if we didn't have, we didn't have to scope down the duration of this podcast. I would have asked for
Absolutely.
many more use cases. So,
Yes.
uh, if you had to summarize what
Yeah.
Raycast has brought to the table for you,
Hmm.
and I'll start the prompt, and I'd like you to finish it, which is, for what do we say? Raycast is great for people who
Wow. Want technology to get out of their way and let them do their job.
nice,
That's what I'm thinking.
nice, amazing. Because clearly that is how it is helping you
Yes.
uh, cut down on the number of interactions you need to have to get the job done.
Yeah,
So that's
absolutely.
what it sounds like. Is there anything else, Abhimanyu, about Raycast in particular, in how it's integrated into your life, or its efficiencies, or the company, the vibe, the brand, anything that you want to mention that we
Well,
haven't
company
touched
vibe
on?
brand is, I mean, I would love to be part of Raycast if at, some point I can, because they're building cool things. But I myself am learning things. Like I said, those YouTube videos that people show, I'm like, whoa, this tool can do this as well. I keep learning all of that. For anyone who wants to try it out, the built-in stuff is great. If you go to the Raycast store, that's where you see all these extensions. I'm sure, depending on what you're doing, if you are an engineer, you'll find crazy number of tools that integrate into Jira and GitHub and whatnot to get your work done quickly. As a designer, you'll find a bunch of things. Whatever, no matter what you're doing, Raycast has something for you that you'll discover in the store, which I probably can't even tell you about because it's your workflow. But I'm 100% sure that it's going to do something great for you, which you won't be able to live without after you try it out. So that would
Amazing.
be my closing thing.
So, is there anything that Recast has not lived up to or not been able to do for you, other than the small thing that we tried just now? But
Hmm.
had something from the past. Is anything that you'd want to tell Recast? Hey, would it be great if you could do dash?
I mean, it would probably be like feature requests, right? Like I still have, so Raycast is my primary, but I still have Alfred, the older one, um, as my secondary, and then Spotlight as tertiary, because Alfred does a couple of things which are like easier. So in Alfred, if I want to search for a file, I just do so option space, and then I just press space and start typing the name of the file. So it just gets into the file search. I don't have to dedicate a shortcut to it. In Raycast, I have to either, command space, file search, enter, type the name of the file, or they give you the option to set a keyboard shortcut. So you could be like control option F for file search and then start typing. It just seems like a little extra. So, the kind of things I was saying, that they figure out these small things. Maybe these are the small things that I am very used to in my workflow. And if I could just get an option to set it that way, to bring in something from my older ways of doing things, I would love to have some of those. But yeah, other than that, I
Okay.
mean, they just, great. They're doing things really well. So I'm not going to get in their way and slow them down with some maybe
With
unnecessary
one
things.
feature request.
Yeah, with one feature request.
Number 1062 on your list of all requests that
Yes.
people have been making.
Yeah.
Okay. The only thing we have left is a rapid fire round. Are you ready?
Whoa. Okay. I did not know that was there. Cool. Yes. Love that.
Okay, all right. Very painless. First one, name one item on your bucket list.
Whoa. Northern Lights, Aurora Borealis.
Okay.
Yes.
Which social media platform are you personally most active on?
I'd say Twitter.
Okay.
I consume everywhere, but that's where I'm usually posting. Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
Hmm?
What comes to mind when I say happiness?
Family. Wow.
Okay. Do you own a vehicle?
Yes, I just bought an EV like 4 days
Nice.
back. Yeah.
Excellent. What make?
It's the MG Comet EV, like the little small little car. Because of
Lovely,
Bangalore
lovely.
traffic, it can get me from A to B without too much
Listen,
effort.
every time I go there, and I'm from Bombay, I'm like,
Ah,
okay, Bangalore takes the cake in
yes,
certain regards. I don't mind
100%.
distances, but traffic is insane.
Yes.
Totally get it. Makes sense. That was it for the rapid fire round.
Amazing.
And this was a fantastic podcast. Thank you so much for your time and for sharing Raycast with me, because I'm
Yes.
definitely going to join that wait list first and
Absolutely.
wait for Windows to come up.
Yeah, and definitely
Uh,
share it with your husband since you said he's using Mac OS a lot.
he's a Mac
Yeah.
OS user for
Yes.
sure. I will do that. So thanks a lot, Abhimanyu. Have a great Saturday.
Thank you. Thank you for this. Loved speaking with you and hope I helped other people get more productive.
They're going to be increasing their Google search results now after this.
Amazing.
Okay. Bye.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye. Yeah.